What's good, everybody? It's Hamza, and today, guys, I'm coming to you with a brand new video. But before we get into that, guys, let's try and get 3 likes on this video. We'll be doing a great job, so let's keep it up. And of course, subscribe if you have not already, guys, because we're so close to 7,000 subscribers. I will be announcing a giveaway very soon, guys. Check out all the links down below. Of course, check out my Instagram and check out my Discord as well, guys. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, guys, so starting off with the video, I have said before I was going to be coming out with an Age of Overlord sort of best cards and honorable mentions. So just right here, I just quickly pulled up Age of Overlord. It's a new set that's coming out on October 19th, I believe. Yeah, so October 19th, and we're going to be getting all sorts of cards. Of course, there's the 1 QCR, 14 ultras, 18 supers, 25 rares, and 63 commons. But that's just a quick overview of the set. It's going to have a lot of impact in the metagame as well, guys. But before we start, of course, like, comment, and subscribe. So starting off with our first, it is going to be an honorable mention. So my number 1 honorable mention is going to be Angelica's Angelic Ring. Now, this card says equip only to a monster you control with an equip card, but we don't care about that effect. We only care about, and I'm sure if you guys know my channel and my videos, you guys know that I have been talking about this card, but in terms of what the rest of the cards do to the meta, I believe that Angelica's Angelic Ring is a better honorable mention. So again, negate the effect of your opponent's first spell card. So Infernoble can be using this card all sorts of unique ways, like milling it, being able to equip it, get it back, and equipping it, and getting a free spell negate every single turn, and it doesn't kind of respond, it just negates on resolution like I said before. So it's similar to the Mermail card or Magician's Right Hand as well. So it's a really good card in an honorable mention. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on the honorable mentions just because they're honorable mentions. So moving on to the next honorable mention, it is going to be Vices Samsara, or Vices, or however you want to pronounce it. So this card is really good for a number of reasons. Number 1, of course, it enables a lot more combos that Manadium and other sorts of like Scareclaw pile decks can do. This card says this: it's always Vices Starfrost while on the field or in the graveyard. So it's always Vices Starfrost unless it's in the deck. And it says this: you can target any number of your Vices monsters that are banished or in your graveyard and or on your field, shove those monsters into the deck, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And if you do that, it gains 400 attack for each whatever of unique name you're going to use once per turn. If this card you control would be used as synchro material, you can treat it as a non-tuner. So a lot to break down there. So the first one is, again, it's a free special summon. So if you search it, you can shuffle cards back, summon it. The attack boost is pretty cool because, like, I mean, if you shuffle 1, it goes to 19, more it goes to 23, so he does become a problematic monster. But being a tuner that can be treated as a non-tuner is very important in the Vices Starfrost, in the Vices deck, like Manadium, things of that nature in that deck as well. And then again, like I said before, I'm not going to be talking too much about these because I will have videos, but Samsara is really good in what he provides. And then moving on to the other card, it is going to be Manadium Triscuda. I guess that's the official name. Triscuda, and I like that a lot. So Manadium Triscuda, this card says this: if this card is synchro summoned, you can target 1 level 2 tuner in your graveyard, special summon it, but negates its effects. You can target any number of tuners you control, change their levels to 2. Also, you cannot special summon monsters, blah blah, except synchro. So again, a generic level 6 monster. But the reason why this card is really good is Manadium have a lot of level 2 tuners, so being able to climb into Triscuda is good because Triscuda can just reborn the tuners and then go into an 8. Going into all sorts of other synchro lines is very good as well. Being able to manipulate his level is also really nice as well. And then, like I said before, they do have all sorts of other cards that can either be tuners or not be tuners and things of that nature. So this is a good bridge card because now this is what I was saying, that it enables a lot of kind of the 1-card combos and stuff like that. So Manadium Triscuda is another one. And then moving on to the final honorable mention, I'm going to be talking about Vanquish Soul Xiaolong. Now, Xiaolong is really good. He says this: if you reveal a card in your hand to activate a Vanquish Soul card or effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Quick effect, you can activate one of these effects. So fire, change battle position of one of your monsters. 2 fire, add 1 Vanquish Soul card from your deck to your hand. So again, you can probably be like, oh man, like Aroda's crazy. It was always hard to get that fire, so having another fire is nice, but he's easier because now that you have more fires in your hand, it's kind of easier for you to resolve other effects, not just his own effect. But I mean, the other effects is pretty cool, like change the battle position on one monster to defense is nice, but again, you really just want that main effect, which is add 1 Vanquish Soul. One thing about this is this card, in my opinion, so said if you reveal a card in your hand to activate a worm monster effect or like a sword soul or whatever, because then you can use it in virtual world. You also use it in sword soul as well. I don't know, I just brought them back together, but you can use them in that. So he is really good. And then Xiaolong is really good. He's going to be powerful, especially because being a fire, because they play Ash Blossom, they play Rise Art, things of that nature. So he's really good. But then another also card they got was Vanquish Soul Snow Devil. Now this card is okay. I mean, inflict 400 points, best on 1 from your hand, inflict 600, and then can be destroyed, and inflict 800, and kind of volcanic rocket their whole board away. So it's pretty good. Reveal up to each, so Dark Earth Fire. So again, it's hard to have that many cards in your hand, but it's pretty good in that regard. So now guys, we will be moving on to the top 5 cards in my opinion. I'll do a quick summary at the end as well. So these are the top 5 cards in my opinion moving into Age of Overlord. So these are the best cards in that set. So number 5, we are going to be talking about Arias, the Labrynth Butler. Now I was confirmed that Arias is a girl. So during the main phase, quick fact, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, summon 1 Labrynth monster, or set 1 normal trap card from your hand. The set normal trap card can be activated this turn when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your card or effect activation, or a normal trap or a Labrynth card, except Arias. You can activate this card in your graveyard, summon this card from your graveyard. You can only use each effect monster. So Arias can be used as more copies of Ku Klok. On top of that as well, is it just becomes more of a buff to trap based decks as well, just generic trap based decks as well. Being able to become a hand trap. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon, or set 1 normal trap card from your hand, and then that set normal trap card can be activated this turn. So again, discard, set it, activate it, it's really good. And then it also has the other fact where it says when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your card or effect activation of a normal trap or a Labrynth card. So it's not just a Labrynth card, right? It's a normal trap. And I believe because it says a Labrynth card, it'll also be in response to monster effects. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can activate this card in your graveyard, special summon this card. So now you also have a body on board as well. So it's really good in that regard. It gives Labrynth the nice little push that it needed. It means that Ku Klok being hit on the ban list wouldn't really matter. I mean, some decks were only playing 1 Ku Klok, some decks were playing 3. I believe Ryan Yu was on 3. But Arias, Labrynth, Butler being able to just kind of send it from the hand or field to the graveyard and special someone is really good. And then another thing to forget, guys, is not only does Arias come back, so right here you can activate this effect, special summon this card, but the main phase of quick effect can be sent from the field or graveyard to the hand. So say for example you resolve Arias during your turn, reborn Arias, then during your opponent's turn you activate something, your opponent chains like an econ or something, you can chain Arias to reborn back or kind of set or special summon a Labrynth monster. So it's really good. It also works really well when you bounce one of the ladies to hand, you can just summon her back. So Arias is really good, and that's what I was saying, that in my opinion Arias is going to be a very good card coming up in the new set Age of Overlord. But enough about Arias, guys. Moving on, so Arias was the 5th best card in my opinion. Moving on to the next best card, it is going to be our Super Starslayer TY-PHON Sky Crisis. Whoa, I'm just going to call this guy like TY-PHON, Starslayer, Doomstar, or whatever. I actually like Doomstar. I don't know why this is his name, but I'm gonna call him Doomstar. So his effect is this: during the turn or turn after, your opponent special summon 2 or more monsters from the extra deck. You can also XYZ summon this card by using 1 monster you control with the highest attack. Of course, your choice if it's side. Transfer this material to this card, and if you do, you cannot normal special summon for the rest of this turn. While this XYZ summon monster is on the field, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3000 or more attack. Once per turn, detach 1 material from this card, return 1 monster from the field to hand. So a lot of people call Doomstar like the anti-Zeus card, where technically he is, like, if you think about it in lore, like they're battling, I guess. But this card's really good because a lot of the times when you're kind of going second, breaking an opponent's board, where of course we're assuming they summon 2 or more monsters from the X deck, I mean, which a lot of decks do anyways, like even back row decks and rescue ace, things of that nature do it as well. But there are a lot of instances where you kind of feel like you don't have enough resources, or like, man, I was missing that 1 monster, or like my Zeus couldn't out, or this and that, whatever, right? Being able to slap Doomstar and then being able to detach 1 material from this card, return 1 monster from the field to the hand is really good, because usually you don't care about the back row, you only care about the monsters. And there are monsters that kind of don't have negates that are quote-unquote vanillas, like say for example a Baron, where you're like, man, even if I set a card, the Baron's gonna pop it, so I really have to out it. So being able to have this monster is really good. On top of that, an underrated effect is monster 3000 attack or more can't attack, or sorry, not can't attack, they can't activate the effect. So TY-PHON is really good in that regard. And just being able to be a new generic, you know, extra deck staple. Age of Overlord has a lot of those, so you guys will see what I'm talking about. But Doomstar is really good in what he provides. Just the generic slap on a monster, kind of you like summon a Baron, Baron pop, Baron negate, and then slap on TY-PHON. And then main phase 2 being able to bounce card is really good. And then his restriction doesn't even matter because it says for the rest of this turn. And you probably just slap him on to end your turn anyway, so he's really good in that regard. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people start summoning him in like grind games, so like turn 4 and 5, where that's kind of where his value starts, because he says during the turn or turn after your opponent's best summon, so he's really good in that regard as well. So again, TY-PHON Doomstar is going to be the 4th best card in my opinion. That's going to be in Age of Overlord. So then moving on to the 3rd best card, I'm not just gonna say the 3rd best card, I'm gonna say the 3rd best cards because it's going to be an archetype. It is going to be the Horus archetype. So I'm going to be breaking down the 3 best cards, or 2 of the best cards and the 1 main card you have to play. So the first card is going to be Imseti, Glorious of Horus. Now, Glory of Horus, not Glorious. He says this: if you control King Sarcophagus, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, including this card. Add 1 King Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. Then you can draw 1 card. So again, discard 2, add a King Sarcophagus, draw a card, really good. If another card you control leaves the field by opponent's card effect, while this card is in your monster zone, you can send one card on the field to the graveyard. So he's really good. He does have the clause where, again, like I said, King Sarcophagus, it's going to be a big theme of the Horus cards, but he's really good because you can send him and another card to the graveyard and then add one, so he is really good as well. I believe it's cost, so specific cards won't trigger, but you can definitely send him and add and then draw a card, so he is really good. So again, like I said, for Imp said he's the good one. And then moving on, and the reason why I said I'm going to be talking about the cards and not just kind of like one card is because they're an engine. So in my opinion, the second best card is going to be Happy. So he said if you control King Sarcophagus, special summon this card from your graveyard, you only special summon Happy, Guidance of Horus once per turn this way. So all of them have the effect where if there's King Sarcophagus, summon it from the graveyard, and that's once per turn. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card's in your monster zone, target 2 cards that are banished and or in the graveyard, and either add both to the hand or shuffle them into the deck. Pretty good, but Happy is going to be, I guess you could say, the other good card that you want to add in the deck, just because of the way things are. But again, moving on to the final card of the engine. So in my opinion, you play Imp and Happy, and of course you have to play King Sarcophagus. So this is the main reason, and this is why the deck works. So Horus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them. So note, all the Horus monsters have effects on the field, and then they cannot be destroyed by card effects unless they target them. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, send one Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of King Sarcophagus up to 4 times per turn. So again, they have 4 names, so they can send 4. In my opinion, you just play the 1-1 if you were to play it, and once per turn at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard. So it's pretty good. So again, I'm sure you guys can kind of understand. So inside you send, discard, like send a tier card or something, add King Sarcophagus, then you draw a card, so you deck then, and then it says if you control it, you can special summon it. So he discards to add King Sarcophagus and then reborns himself, and then you can use King Sarcophagus to go ahead and send Happy to the graveyard and then reborn Happy. So you guys can see you have 2 8s on the board as well. So it's really good in facilitating all sorts of plays. So you can go ahead and you can actually summon out Hope Harbinger, so 2 level 8 monsters, a free spell negate, which is really good. You can also go ahead and summon out number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, so this is the Nib negator, so he's really good. But again, I'm sure you guys saw me hover it. The best card is going to be the Zombie Vampire. Now this card says this: neither player can target this card with effects special on monsters, blah blah blah, whatever. You can detach 1 material from this card. Each player sends the top 4 cards from the deck to the graveyard. Then if any monsters were sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can special summon one of those monsters to your field. So again, you can summon one of your opponent's monsters. If you're in the tier mirror and you detach and you mill 4 from each and your opponent mills a Kelback, you can just summon their Kelback onto the board and use your Kelback. So it's pretty good in that regard. But again, these cards really facilitate. So again, it's a free search, it's a free draw, it helps you get graveyard fodder similar to Happy. So King Sarcophagus really enables a lot. Zombie Vampire being the best one. The only issue that these cards have is that they are not good mills unless you have King Sarcophagus, and of course if you have King Sarcophagus, then of course they get a lot better. But to each their own. But in my opinion, those 3 cards were going to be better than the previous 2. So again, the Horus engine is going to be the 3rd best cards coming out of Age of Overlord. Then moving on to the next best engine, it is going to be Diabellstar. Now this is the 2nd best card. I was kind of cut between like the 2 best cards, but it's going to be the Diabellstar, Tainted Treasures, Sinful Spoils, whatever you guys want to call it. So if you guys aren't familiar, Diabellstar the Black Witch says this: you special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. You only special summon Black Witch once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is normal special summoned, you can set 1 Sinful Spoils spell trap card directly from your deck. So she's really good because she kind of bypasses the Droll and Lockbird scenario where she can just automatically set a card, and then during your opponent's turn, if this card is sent from the owner's hand or field to the graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand, field, blah blah, special summon this card, and then when you summon her, you can reborn. But I mean, it's not bad because again, there is slight recursion in what she does, but the main reason is if this card is normal special summon, you can set 1 Sinful Spoil spell trap card directly from your deck. Now this is really good because there are all sorts of cards that you want to set, the main one being this card here, which is the original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. Now this card says send 1 other face-up card you control to the graveyard, so summon 1 level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck. You can banish this card. I was gonna say you can banish summon. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 Snake Eye or Diabellstar monster in your graveyard, add 1 level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand, then place target monster. So again, it kind of has the other effect where it gives you recursion similar to Diabellstar the Black Witch, so it's pretty good. But again, this is the main card that you will be setting off of Diabellstar. Now you're like, oh man, like I really don't want to play 3 of this card, like this is kind of jank. You don't have to, because we're going to be playing a card called Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, which is a quick play spell card. You can add 1 Diabellstar monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So note that it says or graveyard. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one of your Sinful spoil spells that are traps that is banished or in your graveyard. So again, banish or in your graveyard, except wanted, place it at the bottom of your deck, then you can draw one card. So now I'm sure you guys kind of get the theory where you activated wanted gets Diabellstar, Diabellstar sends a card, gets Sinful spoil Snake Eye, and then Snake Eye send Diabellstar, and then you can summon all sorts of level 1s. So the main level 1 that a lot of people are talking about is Rescue Ace Hydrant, where you will be able to summon out Rescue Ace Hydrant. So I have a combo video coming out very soon about Hydrant and the Rescue Ace archetype and how kind of this deck really changed Rescue Ace. You can also be summoning out Jet Synchron, which is a pretty good one, right? You can also summon out Decatron. This one's kind of like my guilty pleasure. Like, I mean, it's okay, but summoning out Decatron is really good. But I'm sure you guys kind of understand the reason why these cards are really good is Diabellstar has her own form of recursion where she can go ahead and summon herself from the one card from the graveyard, and then summon herself, and then if you special summon her, you can set one. So again, you get it. This card is really good because, like I said before, there are multiple ways of recurring this card, but you almost never want to use this card's other effect because Seeker of Sinful Spoils can go ahead and always shuffle back. So you get a nice little 2 to 3 turn loop where you're always drawing a card, you're always getting your level 1s, especially if you play a deck with 3 of level 1s, like I was saying, Rescue Ace. It is really powerful in that regard. And of course, we have Snake Eye, and then we have Wanted, Seeker, Sinful of Spoils, or whatever. So those were the second best cards in my opinion that are coming out of Age of Overlord. And now moving on to the best card, guys. And when I mean best card, this card is crazy. I'm talking about format warping in a sense. It is going to be SP Little Knight. I call it DPE Little Knight. You can call it whatever you want. This card says this: 2 effect monsters, so super generic. If this card's link summon using a fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link monster as material, you can target one card on the field or in either graveyard, banish it. Again, it's not target one monster, target one back row, it's target one card on the field, banish it. Also, your opponent, also a monster you control cannot attack directly this turn. That one's kind of important to understand, especially when your opponent's going second. They can't attack directly, so don't worry about that. It's kind of like the prosperity thing, but I mean, that's hardly a price to pay for what this card does. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a monster you control. You can banish yourself, banish both until the end phase. You can only use each effect once per turn. So let me tell you why this card is good. Not only is it a generic monster, 2 effect monsters, if it's created using a monster summoned from the extra deck, the only thing stopping is like ritual monsters, but I mean like Drive-Down players don't even care because they have links. If it's summoned that way, you can target one card on the field or in the graveyard and banish it. So really good in that regard, being a disruption. And of course, the quick effect to banish, it's like DPE, like except for it'll keep on coming back. It's really annoying. Through cards like Nibiru, you can just pop 2 cards. Through cards like Evening Match, you can pop 2 cards. You just leave this card on board and you make it a disruption that's really problematic because SP keeps coming back. She's really good as well because if you're using her with cards like once per turn while this card's face up, so like Baron, things of that nature, she works really well. The main reason people are going to be playing her is she is going to be a great target for IP Masquerader. Now, this card says during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, link summon 1 link monster. So again, you summon IP, you use IP's effect to go ahead and link away. So because you use IP, which is a link monster, you can summon an SP, then SP will trigger your opponent's turn saying this card's link summon, blah blah, target 1 card on the field or in graveyard, banish it. So now it becomes better than Unicorn, because before IPing into Unicorn wasn't even that good because you had a discard card. So now when you go IP into SP, SP can go ahead and banish a card, and then SP has the effect where she can go ahead and banish herself and another card. She's also protected by card effects, which is going to be a little kind of like a nice little treat you get there as well. But like I said before, guys, SP Little Knight is going to be very problematic in the upcoming meta. Make sure you get your hands on it now before a premiere event and the price spikes exponentially, which I'm sure the price has already spiked, pre-release prices, things of that nature. But yeah, guys, so that was it for my best 5 cards. So again, it was Arias, Doomstar, Diabellstar Engine, these guys in the Horus card, so it's really good in that regard. So guys, that was it for the video. If you guys liked the video, please go and leave a like on this video. Let me know what you guys think down below as well in the comments. Of course, check out all the links. If you made it to the end of the video and you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And without further ado, guys, my name's Hamza, and like I always say, keep on shining, never go on your dreams. Peace.